So up next we have Mr. Pranav Bhatt, who will share his views and explain you guys how to link Flutter with Firebase. Mr. Pranav has been doing Flutter since a while now, and he's an expert. He has already pushed an application on Google Play Store now. So, Mr. Pranav, the floor is all yours.
Thank you so much.
Perfect.
All right, that was a great talk by Roman before me. And just so that I know everyone is active, could you all just send a thumbs up in the chat right now? All right, nice, amazing. So I'll just start sharing my screen. Yeah, is my screen visible?
Yeah.
Awesome. So first of all, a little bit about me. I'm, as you mentioned, a Flutter developer, and I happened to come across Flutter because like everyone, I was bored during the pandemic, and I was just thinking what to do, to spend my time. And so I began searching for all the ways I could develop something on Android, any apps, anyhow. So I came across this SDK Flutter, which is an amazing SDK, as you all saw in Roman's talk. It's so easy, it's easy to grasp. And so I joined online courses, and through YouTube tutorials and all of these online videos, I learned Flutter enough so that I could post a simple basic app on the Google Play Store, which I did recently. So these are my LinkedIn links, so you all can, if you all want to grow your connections, and I would personally love to grow my connections because I'm a newbie on LinkedIn. And this is my email ID. If you all have any emails or anything that you want to share with me, I would love to check it out. And fun fact about me is that I like to sing. So if you are just randomly in a mood that you want to listen to someone sing Hindi or English songs, you can go to my Instagram ID right here. So moving on, this is the app that I just recently uploaded on Google Play Store. It's going to be uploaded on App Store, which is on iOS soon. And it's basically a location sharing app. But the catch is that while sharing your location, it lets the receiver of your location know that you are in an emergency. So I was just thinking that, hey, what if I am in an emergency situation and I need to share my location, but I don't have enough time to let the receiver know that I'm in an emergency. I'm not just sharing it randomly or something. So suppose I have only 10 seconds. So I made this happen in such a way that you have an option to click on the emergency button, and you can just share it with one tap via WhatsApp or SMS, email, what have you. So that was the main idea of this app. And with Flutter, it's really easy to do that. And it's really important that we develop useful apps for the community, because when I was starting Flutter, I remember the story my teacher told me, the online course teacher. And she said that in the earlier days, 10 years ago or something, I don't remember exactly, there was this guy who made this app called I Am Rich. And that app did nothing, absolutely nothing at all. And it just, you could open it, and the first page itself would just show that, okay, you are rich, congratulations. That's all it did. And he uploaded it on the Play Store, App Store, and he set the price for the app highest as was available for him. Like on App Store it was for $1,000, and on Play Store it was like $300 or something. And a few people actually downloaded it, like 10 people, before it got taken down by Apple. So yeah, keeping that in mind, I think we should look more toward developing useful apps that might come in handy for like people in emergencies and so on and so forth. So moving on, the agenda for today's my presentation is that we are going to be looking at basic Flutter widgets, which Roman went through already, but I have some tweaks in it and a new widgets with me. So yeah, we're going to be going through basic widgets. So and then after that, we're going to be looking at animations. By the way, Flutter has a lovely framework to implement animations, like animations like moving some button on one part of the screen to the other part of the screen, or just changing the color of the background, and just converting a square to a circle on your app. It has a really powerful engine for that, and I'll love to show you all that. And lastly, we would just implement Firebase, Google Firebase, which is an excellent service for any app. Like, you can use it to authenticate users, create new users, and store data. It has a database as well in it. And so yeah, let's get into it. So firstly, let's talk about widgets. As we have discussed already, everything in Flutter is a widget, and I think that's the distinguishing part of Flutter. Like, that's what makes it really easy to grasp. Like, right from material app to container, scaffold, everything is a widget, and you can tweak their properties according to your wishes. So yeah, that's the one. I embrace this feature a lot in Flutter. So let's take a look at all the widgets that we're going to be discussing. Firstly, the scaffold widget and the app bar which is inside it. We just had a look at that, but I'll show you all more properties inside it. And the drawer is a new it's an amazing widget. I'll show you all how what it is exactly. Then the container and more features about the container, and rows and columns, and a sized box finally. So let's take a look at the scaffold widget. Firstly, the scaffold widget is basically a widget that takes the space of your entire screen initially, and it has levels in it. Like, one level is app bar, and another level is the body, and another level is the drawer, which will, you see this little icon here. If you click on it, another page will just slide toward the right. That's the drawer. We are going to be implementing that. So I'll just go back to Android Studio, and let's start. So whenever a program starts to compile, the first thing the compiler looks for is this main method. So we have implemented that, and we have to say, okay, now that you're inside it, run this app. So we have declared that, and inside the run app, we have to specify that it's a material app. So the material app gets all the widgets, the material widgets, like from scaffold to container with it. So let's say material app. And inside the material app, it needs a home property, like the first page, first widget that you want to show when your app starts. So that goes into home. So let's give it my app. And you can see it gives an error because we haven't defined what my app is. So I'll just create a stateless widget, and I'll be discussing more about stateless and stateful widgets soon. And so we have a stateless widget here, and let's replace container with a scaffold. And let's build this app. We'll go into this emulator. And I think a really lovely feature of this Android Studio as an IDE is this emulator. You can just see what you are building. So as you can see, it has nothing inside in it because we haven't done anything inside the scaffold. So let's move on and give it an app bar, and we'll give it an app bar property. And inside it, let's give it a title. And for the title, it needs a text which you want to be displayed in the app bar. So let's give it my app, and let's hot reload this, and there you go. So this has just been implemented so quickly, right? And one more feature about this is, let's say you don't want this my app to be toward the left side of the app bar. You want it to be centralized. So there's another property called center title, and you just set it to true, and hot reload, and voila, it's centralized like instantly. And you might be thinking how I know that there is a center title property. Like, one way is to just go and read the documents that are available online, but there's another feature in this IDE. You press Control, and you go to any widget, and you can see a list of all the parameters that it accepts. So over here, I can see that it accepts a widget that is title, it accepts a list that is actions, it accepts a double elevation of double type that is basically, the shadow which we saw earlier. Let's give it an elevation as well then. So yeah, you see the shadow has been implemented. And let's give it a drawer as well. So drawer, and it accepts a drawer widget. If I hot reload this, you can see this icon. And right now there's nothing inside our drawer. So let's give it a child, and let's say a list view, because I want some icons to be represented in lists in my drawer. So yeah, let's give the list view a children. It accepts children, not a child, because it is a list. So it accepts it as children. And let's say a list tile. This is a new widget, list tile, and it's basically a tile in the widget. We'll see how it looks like. So let's say I'll just scroll down here, and let's give it a title, text widget, and let's say account, like a list style for the user to go to his account settings. So let's save that, and let's see how that looks. So as you can see, this has been drawn by Flutter. It's basically like painting. And let's say on tap property, like what do you want Flutter to do when you tap on it? So it detects taps as well. So we can say that when it is tapped on, just print user type tapped on account. And let's hot reload. Okay, yeah, the semicolon and hot reload. So now if I tap on it, let's just bring the message bar here. If I tap on it, so it prints, and you saw the splash screen as well. Like this, it's by default, and you can go in deeper into it. You can change the splash color, like it's currently grayish, but you can change it to blue, green, whatever you wish to. And you can have multiple list styles in one below the other. So I can just copy and paste again, and let's see how that looks like. So we have three three list styles all doing the same things, but we can obviously change that. So that was basically drawer, which is a very useful feature for any app, because from here the user can access account settings or themes, if you want a dark theme or light theme, and so on and so forth. So let's get back to scaffold. And as you might remember, there's another level in the scaffold, which is body. And the body is this part of the app. So let's give it a container. And if I hot reload this, nothing comes up because we haven't given any features to the container. So I'll just give it a height of 100, a width of 100, and a color so that I can distinguish it with, let's say, blue. Yeah. Or red. Yeah. Now you can see that this is on the top left, but let's say I want it to be in the center. So I'll just wrap this container widget with a center widget. And as you just saw right now, it's like nesting of widgets. In Flutter, basically, you are just creating nests of widgets within widgets within widgets as long as you can go for. So if I just hot reload this, it will come in the center. And I want to show you all more properties about the container. How can you make it look more appealing to the viewer? Like, okay, you have a simple container. It's not that appealing. So let's say I don't want it to be just plain red color. I want it to have a gradient. Like inside it, it shifts from light blue to red blue. So there's a feature of container called decoration, which accepts box decoration. And inside it, it accepts gradient. And we can give it a linear gradient property. And all it does is tells Flutter that, okay, we are going to be implementing a gradient which changes from one color on one end to the other color on the other end. It can be multiple colors also, like not necessarily two colors. So it accepts a list of colors, which is let's give it colors.blue of shade 200 if you want. So one thing is to just say colors blue, but if you want a lighter shade of blue, so you can just open these brackets and say 200, and 200 is the lightest, and let's say colors.blue, and 800, which I'm putting here, is the darkest. So if I save this, as you can see, it has this transformation from light blue to dark blue. And if I want dark blue to be first on the left, I can just shift their positions. I can say dark blue first. So now it has changed, and I can make this 400 so that it looks even more fitting. Let's increase the width of it. So yeah, and there's another feature about container, which I don't like these sharp edges personally. So there is another feature called border radius, which just lets you cut off these edges and make them more curvy. So let's just say border radius, and it accepts border radius dot circular. And when you say border radius dot circular, it just understands that okay, you want to cut all the edges. And if I say 32, so there you go. It has become a nice cylindrical, curvy container, whatever you want to call it. So that's container. And as you know, container accepts a child as well. So I can give it a child property, let's say text, and I'll say Flutter is awesome. And if I hot reload this, you can see that it's going really outside the container. It's not really aligned. So I can just wrap this text widget itself with, oh, sorry. Yeah, with center widget. So it gets aligned properly in the center. And another feature of this text widget is that you can style the text itself, like text style, which accepts font size and color. It even accepts fonts if you want, let's say Comic Sans, for example, um, or any Times New Roman. So it accepts that. So let's change the color of this font to colors.white and the font size to 20. How about that? Yeah, it kind of looks better. And there's another widget called gesture detector, which helps you detect touches or any gestures on any widget. Like suppose I wrap this container with another widget that's called gesture detector, and all it does is detect taps or long presses, anything. You can see the list goes on tap cancel, on tap up, on tap down, on double tap, on force press start, whatever. It's a long list, so let's just keep it simple for now. And on tap, and you can tell it whatever you want it to do, like just print something for now. You are right. Flutter is indeed awesome. So, so now if I tap on this, it prints. You are right. So you can use this gesture detector to do multiple stuff. Like if you want for it to navigate to another page or change the background color, and anything you basically want, you can do with it. So moving on, let's just remove this container widget and introduce another widget called column. And as we saw, column just helps you align stuff vertically. So let's just say children, and I want a container, another container, and a third container inside our column. And let's give them properties, right? Because they need properties in order to be distinguishable. So let's just say 100 colors dot blue. I'm a I'm a big fan of blue, evidently. So yeah, I'll just copy these properties and give them to all of these. And if I hot reload right now, so every one of them has blue color, so you cannot distinguish between any of them. Let's just change one of them to red, and so it aligns them vertically. But let's say you want them to have spaces in between them, because it's, very congested here. So there's another widget for that, that's called sized box. And sized box is basically very similar to container, but it has, you can just, people mostly use it for just creating spaces between widgets. So let's just give it a height of 20, and another this size box of 20, and let's see. Yeah, so you can see they have created a space. So going back to the presentation, we completed the scaffold widget, and let's take a break from these widgets and talk about the state of the widgets. So there are two types of widgets. One is stateless and the other one is stateful. So a stateless widget, it's like, once it's built, it cannot change into, let's say, from color blue to color red, or from this height to that height. That's not the ability of stateless widget. That is only applicable for stateful widget, which can just transform in any way you want, and that's their speciality. So as you can see in our tree here, in this huge tree that we have just built, my app. So as you remember, material app runs my app, and my app is a stateless widget, which means that inside it, nothing is changing. Once it's built, it's going to be like that forever. And if I want it to be stateful widget, then I can just go over here, press Alt plus Enter, and just say convert to stateful widget. We'll do that later on, when we are looking at animations, because animations change, they transform into one form to the other, like changing colors, changing height, floating around on your app page. So yeah, for that you need a stateful widget. So that's the distinguishing between stateless and stateful widgets. Now let's go back to the column widget that we just created. And so if you look at this right now, this app that we have created, it's all aligned at the top. So column widget has another property which is called main axis alignment. And as you can see, columns main axis is vertical. So all we are talking about is, how do you want the main axis to be? Like, do you want everything to be in the center, or do you want them to be spaced out evenly, or do you want them to be at the start of the axis, which is the top in case of column, or do you want them to be at the end of the axis, which is in the bottom of the column? So I'll just give a main axis alignment, and I want it to be in center, which looks better than. So yeah, we have just done that in one line of code. We have aligned everything at the center. So this is how easy it is in Flutter. You just create one widget, create another widget, and you just keep tweaking their properties, and before you know it, you've gone from an empty scaffold to a large appealing application. uh, so that's how easy it is, which is startling. So we talked about sized box, and as you can see, these containers, these boxes, they are not separated, but once you introduce a sized box over here, they get separated. There's an invisible sized box over here which keeps them separated. So this was the alignment of containers or widgets vertically, but what about horizontally? So there's another widget for that, which is row widget. And I can just go back, and I don't have to change anything but this column to a row, and I can hot reload this, and everything is aligned horizontally. But now that you look at it, you might be thinking that, hey, you had a sized box between those containers, right? I have this sized box between these two containers, so why aren't they separated anymore? Because that's because I've given them a certain height. and height is vertical, which is only separable in terms of column. But in terms of when it comes to rows, I have to give them a width. So I'll just change these height to width, and voila. Again, it's that simple. So yeah, it's really fun. And like we said before, it's very much like painting. You just do something and you see live results of it on this emulator. And if you so many times it happens that it happened with me as well, that this emulator was just too heavy for my system. I had like 4 GB RAM a few months ago, and my PC couldn't handle. So you can connect with a USB via your system with your physical Android device, and you can literally deploy your app and test it out on your physical device. So yeah, that's pretty cool as well. So yeah, like I said a few moments ago, developing an app with Flutter is very much like painting on a canvas. That's really appealing to any form of beginner like me as well when I was starting. So moving on, this is about what we just discussed, the containers which are already there for our IDE. But there are certain features which you have to import externally. And like this avatar glow, this is a package which makes any widget in your app glow. Like literally, it looks like rays coming out of it, with of any color you want, however long those rays you want it to be. So we'll I really want to show you how to import those packages from the official packages website of Flutter, which is pub.dev. And let's go and check it out. How y'all doing? Can you all give me a thumbs up if y'all are enjoying Flutter is CSS on Cafe? I don't like sharp edges while designing an app. To anyone with me? Oh yeah, you just saw. I don't like it at all. All right, awesome. So let's just go to pub.dev, and I promise a lot of packages like which just reduce your boilerplate code to just a few uh, infinitesimal lines of code actually. If I'm Yeah, so let's just go to avatar glow, and there it is. You can see popularity 97%, likes 517, pub points 120. Pub points are just how updated it is with Flutter and their updates. So yeah, 120 is good enough. Anything around 100 is good, I think. And we can just copy this, which has this avatar glow along with the version number, the current version number. And once you have copied that, there is a file in your IDE called pubspec.yaml. And what this file has is everything that it needs to build your app, like from the SDK version to the version of your app to the dependencies, like the SDK, the we are depending on Flutter as the SDK. So all of that is mentioned right in this file. And under dependencies, let me just put avatar glow. And after you have done this, just click on pub get. And what this will do is just get all of that code from the website and into your system. So it's doing that right now. And let's just take a look at the app, how it is. Okay, so yeah, let's go back and change a few things. Let's remove the row entirely. And instead of that, just a simple center widget, which has a child of container, which is height 100 and width 100 and color as colors dot. Okay, let's just keep it red. Okay, let's hot reload that. And okay, we are with this. Now, how do you implement avatar glow in your project? So you just go to whatever widget you want to glow, to make it glow. Like I'll go to this container widget. I'll press Alt and Enter, and I'll choose this wrap with widget, and I'll just say avatar glow. And there are a couple of properties in avatar glow, like glow color. And let's say what looks good with red, I guess yellow, really hot. And let's say, what else can we give? End radius, which is 100 is fine, like pretty much the size of the height of our container itself. So let's restart the app, and in a few moments it should just show us glowing. Yeah, you can see, can you see that? All the glowing coming out from the container. I can change it to anything, like let's say blue. Yeah, I'm really obsessed with blue, evidently. But yeah, all the glowing blue colors are just coming outside. And there are a few more features, like remember I said that you can see what parameters a widget accepts, like just press control and hover over the widget, and I can see that repeat is one parameter. What else? Duration. What else? Start delay, curve. Let's take a look at duration. So duration is basically the duration of every glow, like how long do you want it to be. If I set it really low, like 100, and let's see how that looks like. I think it would look like yeah, like an SOS signal. I don't know. So not that soothing. Let's just say 1,000, one per second. So you can change that as well. And you saw every second. So that's how easy it is. You don't have to code it, hard code it to get this functionality. You can just go, you can even go to Google and just type like how to make a container glow, and you know how Google works, like it gets the best results. You will just, I think the fourth suggestion would itself be avatar glow package on pub.dev. So you can just explore. It's an ocean of packages on pub.dev, and they all are amazing. So my dream is to publish a package of mine soon, if I come up with an original idea. So another package that we should look at is connectivity. Now, in my app that I published on the Play Store, I'll show it. So this is the app. It's opening, and in that app I had two options. I had to check whether the user is online, if they have connectivity, and if they don't have connectivity, then all it does is just get their coordinates, like longitude and latitude. But if they are online, then it does get their coordinates, but it then converts it into readable location. Like in some cases it even gets down to your wing or flat or apartment number. So that's how accurate it was. So let's say I click on find your location, and it takes some time on the emulator, I guess. But this is not my current location. I don't live in California. But this is the by default set location by Google. So it gives you your speed, it gives you altitude. And I didn't know how to implement these things, how to get speed and altitude. I was actually just surfing through pub.dev and looking at stuff that, what can I just add any feature in this location that makes it helpful for the user. So if the user were on offline, only the coordinates, like you would get a huge number in decimals, like 20 points, so and so and so and so. And so that is very important, because I want it to be usable even if it is offline. So let's just go and look for the connectivity package. And there it is. Popularity 99%, which is good. And again, like last time, you just copy it and go back to this pubspec.yaml file. Pubspec.yaml file is your main file for all your dependencies, and you just paste connectivity package here. Then you press on pub-get, and it gets all the code, background code, which it needs to function. So the connectivity is being imported right here. And as you can see, it took 4.1 seconds. And what I want to do now is check the connectivity of the user. So as you can see, we already have a gesture detector here. And now what we are going to do is every time I press on the container, it should check for the connectivity, and it should print whether I am on an active connection or if there is no connection at all. So I don't know how to do that. Actually, let's say I forgot. So I'll just go back to this pub.dev, and they have examples, they have how to install, they have previous versions, all the versions about um, the history of whatever they have uploaded. And now I can go down and just usage. I'll go down to the usage, and I can see that, okay, there's a connectivity result variable, and it gets connectivity. Okay, something's happening here. I'll just copy this code and I'll explain it in a few moments. So I've pasted it right here. I want this to be implemented after a tap has been detected. And as you can see, I haven't imported connectivity. So I can just go and import it right here, and the error goes away, but there is this error await. So this brings us to a whole new topic of programming, which is called asynchronous programming. And what that basically is I'll give you I'll start with an example. So let's say you have built an app that gets daily images from NASA, and after getting those images, you have written some code that detects if there is sun in that image or moon in that image, or it's just empty space, or a black hole in that image. And so imagine you writing the code. Like first you'll write the line as, okay, get image from NASA. Then the second line of code would be determine if sun or moon or space or black hole exists. So this would how your code would look like. But let's say that it takes 10 seconds to just get that image from NASA. And so the compiler will execute the first line, which gets the image from NASA, but it will just execute it, and it will move on. It won't wait for the image to come back to you. So then the second line is just checking for space or moon or sun in that image. And if there is no image that you have received, what are you going to check on? There is no image. So that's what asynchronous programming is all about. So in order to if that happens, if you don't have an image and you still check for sun and moon, everything will crash. Like you'll be shown errors after errors, and you'll have to understand what just happened right here. So in order to avoid such errors, unforeseeable errors, I think you just say await. Like what await basically does is, hey compiler, just wait for this line to be executed and get a value from whatever this line of code is, and let it store into this variable. After that has been done, only then move on. So I've written here await, and I have to specify async over here. So that just says that this function is asynchronous. And so yeah, so this in this connectivity result, the connection state of the user is getting stored. And I'll just go back here and see if connectivity result is equal to connectivity result dot mobile. So I can even check that if they are on mobile network or Wi-Fi. You know how sometimes you go on Play Store, click on install, and they are like, okay, you're on data. Your data is on. Do you want to wait till you're connected to a Wi-Fi to download this application, because it's a really large application? So those warnings you get. So in order to implement that, this package is absolutely amazing. So let's just go back and implement this. If connectivity result equal to connection state dot. So now I can see there are a couple of options: values, none, done, active, and waiting. Okay, there's no. I have connectivity result. I'm sorry. So connectivity result, yeah, even that what we just saw, connection state, we're going to be looking at that in a few moments. So don't worry about what you just saw. It's all going to be explained soon. and you can see none, mobile or Wi-Fi. So I can just put none here. So if connection is none, there's no connection, just print no connection. And else means there is a connection. So if anything else is there, just say connected. And let's just go to our back to our app, what we were building. Yeah. Okay, I'm facing some lagging here. What? Yeah, so let's just go back here, minimize this. Let's see. Um, I'm not able to get that. I'll go back. Oh, the emulator is restarting as entirely. So yeah, it will take some time for that to load back. But let's just move on and look at some other features. I'll make sure to show you all what we just implemented. I think my computer still doesn't have enough RAM after the RAM upgrades that I've done. Anyway, so that was how you get packages online and implement them into your own code. If you don't know how to do that, you can just read those documentations, or just go to YouTube and just search connectivity Flutter, and I can assure you that there's some or the other tutorial for every single package out there. That's how amazing this Flutter community as a whole is. You just think of anything, any doubt that you have, any error, if you're stuck, just go on the internet, look it up, and you will be shown everything there is about it. So there it is, the link for the pub.dev, the official site of getting packages. And moving to the next section, let's just take a look at, yeah, so I'll just ask my let's see if it has been built. Let's see over here. Okay, I'll just stop this. That's how to kill the process. That was the button, stop main.dart, and I'll rebuild this. So it is being rebuilt from scratch. Now let's move on to animations. In the background, the app will be built, and I'll show you in a few moments. So animations in Flutter, like I said earlier, it is an amazing platform to implement animations on. It has a really powerful framework. And for animations, we need stateful widgets, so that every widget inside that stateful widget can move, can transform. Because if we implement a stateless widget, none of those widgets inside the tree, the nest, will not be able to transform. So we need stateful widgets for animations. So let's just yeah, so I have this question to ask you all. So these I have these two types of animation now. One is turning this round shaped square to a sharp edged square with a dark blue color, or this green colored circle to a red colored rectangle. Which one do you want me to implement? Say if you want me to implement this, say one. If you want me to implement this one, say two in the chat box. So we have a two. We have a two. Oh, awesome! I thought mostly people go for one. Awesome, awesome. Okay. So I don't know if I got this thing across, but Flutter has an amazing engine for animations, and we need stateful widgets for implementing animations, because in stateful widgets, the widgets can transform from one state to other. Like that circle, it can transform from a circle to a rectangle, and it can change the color as well. So it needs stateful widgets for that. Stateless widgets, no transformation can take place. Like right now we have a stateless widget right here entirely. So let's write some code for for implementing animations. So I'll just say stateful right here, and I'll say my app. If you saw what I just did right there, I just typed stateless, like this, and it just gives me suggestions, and I press enter and all the code is just written for me. So that's a cool feature. And right here, let's give it a scaffold as always. And in the body, I want there to be something called animated container. And this is animated container is just what it sounds like. It's a container that can be animated according to your wishes. You can change its height, its width, however, whenever you want. Like in our case, I wanted to change. I'm sorry. In our case, I wanted to change in whenever it's tapped on. So I'll just wrap it with a gesture detector, and I'll pre-declare its properties. Like I want it to have certain height, so I'll declare the height outside over here. Double dot height, let's say 100, and double dot width as well as 100 as well. Oh, I'm forgot the semicolon. So yeah, I'll pass this height as the property of this animated container, and this width that we just declared here as the width of this animated container. And so in animated containers, you have to provide a duration as well. Like in what duration do you want the animation to get executed in? So it's a must. Otherwise, the app will crash. So in our case, I want it to be in 2 seconds. How about that? And I want it to have certain color as well. So I'll say color is equal to colors dot what was we are implementing this, so let's say green to it, and we'll pass the color, which is the color that we just declared right here. And one way is, if you want to create a circle in your app, one way is to just go into the decoration section of your container and box decoration, and give it a border radius. Like we have seen it a couple of times by now, border radius dot circular, and give it such a huge value that it just cuts it so much that it creates a circle. That's that's my way. I like to implement it like that. So yeah, I think we should increase these height and width. So let's see how that looks on our app. Okay, what's this? Colors is equal to null, decoration is equal to null. Okay, we already have an error. Okay, this is a really good error, because one day in the future you might be implementing your own app and you might get this long error and you won't even realize what it is for. Because if I was looking at this for the first time, I don't think cannot provide both a color and a decoration. So I don't know what exactly that means. And if you see, our container contains a decoration property, and in the decoration property you have to there is also a choice to give it a color, and I'll give it the color which we have declared right here. But now if you see, we have declared the color of this container twice. One is here and one is here outside the decoration. So they all refute each other. So the compiler gets all confused. And if you don't do this over here in box decoration, then it will show this error like, hey, you were supposed to declare this color in the decoration field. So I'll just go back and say here is your color, and I'll remove this. And if I restart the app, it should work fine now. Yeah, so there we have the container that we just created, and I want it to be in center. So I'll just wrap the gesture detector with center. And how about that? Yes. Now I wanted to change the color and the height and the width, everything, if I tap on it. So on tap, let's just pass on tap. I wanted to update values. And as you can see, we haven't implemented that. So we have to implement a function called update values. And what happens in update values is basically what we just said. It updates all the values of this animated container. So the height I wanted to change to 100, the width I wanted to change to let's keep it 200 only, and I want the color to change to what's yeah, so it's red. So I wanted to change to red, and okay, colors dot red. And now, as you can see, there are no errors, and I'll restart this. Yeah, and I tap on it, but nothing changes. And why is that? I mean, I'm calling this function right here, and it's for sure updating these values. It's changing 200 to 100. The width is staying the same, and the color is being redeclared as red. So why is it not changing when we tap on it? And that's what you need to understand about state in Flutter. That you have to notify Flutter that okay, I'm changing some properties of this container. So you have to call a method called setState, and this is how you notify Flutter that you are changing some properties inside this stateful widget, and you have to rebuild the entire screen according to what we have displayed. We have reset the values according to whatever we have set the values as. So if I do this in a set state method and I restart this app and I press, as you can see, it just transforms into a container. And okay, let's just increase its width because the border radius is too much, so it's just staying circular. And let's restart this, and I'll press on this, and it will change into okay, why is it not in okay, I think it's too much. Let's just bring it down to 100, and let's restart this app, and it should turn into okay, I don't know why it's not turning into okay. So what we can do, what I mean by this is that the border radius is, it's not sharp edged, which I have shown in this slide. And to fix that, I can basically just declare the border radius value outside as well. So let's just say double border radius, initial value of 200, and when update values is called, I want the border radius to change into 1, like very infinitesimal, and I want this to be specified right here, border radius. Now if I restart, sorry about this, yeah, now if I press on this, you see it has sharp edges right now. So wasn't that just amazing? I mean, if you all loved that, why don't you just give me a thumbs up in the chat? Because the Flutter animation thing is just amazing what they have implemented right here. So yeah, awesome. Change border radius, maybe. Yeah. We just yeah. That was an unforeseen thing. I didn't. It caught me off guard as well, but we saw how to fix that. So moving on, we did this, and I want to show you more examples of animations because um, the time that I have is not enough to show you the vast varieties of animations that you can implement in Flutter. So I have this pre-built page over here that has multiple animations, and if I hot restart this app, so it should take me to animation page. Now you can see there's this guy going up and down, and if I again hot restart this, take a look at this container. Its opacity increases, it fades in on your screen. So it's just a gist of the of all the animations that you can do. One more example of animation that I have done in my app that I just posted recently on the Play Store is I wanted the logo to go up and down, and this little guy, this logo, and I wanted it to be look realistic. So this is how it looks. You can just, so we discussed about stack, how you can stack widgets on one another. So I just stacked two clouds over here, and behind those clouds, there's this little guy just going up and down smoothly. So yeah, as you saw, the animations in Flutter uh, are really smooth and beautiful, for that matter. So yeah, let's move on to whatever is next. Okay, I have another question to you all. We are now on the Firebase section, that we are going to implement the Firebase functionalities to authenticate users, to register them, to sign in users anonymously as well, like they don't need any credentials. So which page do you find more appealing? If you want me to build this, then just say one, and if you want me to build this, send two in the chat box. So one. Yeah, it does look appealing, at least more appealing than this. Yeah, agreed. Yeah, you all have an eye for appealingness, if that's a word. So let's just take it to sign in page. Instead of taking it to my page, I'm taking it to sign in page, and I haven't created a sign in page. I have created this file sign in page, and I'll just go here, and I'll create a stateful widget called sign in page. How about that? So I'll just import all the libraries, the material library, for it to create a widget, and I'll just import the sign in page right here. So as of now, our app is directly taken to the sign in page, which should be a blank page. It should be black. Yeah. So let's just give it some look. Let's just give it like a scaffold, and let's go to the body level of the scaffold, and let's just say there's a container in it, and the container has a column. And if you remember, the column takes multiple children. It takes lists of children. So children, and as you can see here, there are approximately five containers. So let's just give them that. Okay, let's just start by declaring a container, and I'll go to the decoration part again. Like you can, it's extremely good. Like you can decorate to your according to your choice, and I'll just say colors dot white, and the border radius. I am a huge fan of the border radius personally. I really don't like sharp edges. So yeah, and let's give it a height 100 and a width of 100. Okay, so now there is another feature in Flutter that lets you just find out that what's the actual height and width of the device that your app is running on. So if you explicitly declare it as 100, that can be like this size, but it can overflow on certain devices. Like this, the size of screens where change from device to device, right? So what I want the height to be is versatile, like according to the size of the screen that your app is running on. So to get the exact height of the screen your app is running on, I'll just declare this double height variable, and I'll call media query. And this is an amazing functionality that you can add. Media query dot off, it takes context, the context of whatever there is on the screen, and dot size of the screen dot height. How about that? So the height is now stored inside this height, and I can just copy this and paste it down below, and I can store it as width as well. So I'll get the width of the container, or of the screen actually. So now I can say I want the height of this container to be the actual size of the screen multiplied by 0.1. So like 10% of the screen it should occupy. And I want the width of this to be width into 80%, 80% of the width of whatever size of the screen, whatever the size of the screen your app is running on. So if I save this, How does it look? Okay, let's just change the color of the scaffold background. Let's change it to blue. Colors dot blue, and let's hot reload. So as you can see, it's up above or like in the top left corner. So I can just change that, like we saw, main axis alignment dot center, and boom, you have it in the center. And if you wanted to be centralized in terms of width, so you can just wrap this column with the center widget. Like you can actually wrap the entire center column widget with the center widget, and now it is in the center. Now what we want is this container to have this input ability. Like you can just input your emails or passwords or credentials into it. So let's just create this email, string email, and string password. And what these variables do is just store whatever emails and password that you enter. And I can pass a child to this container that we have, uh, a text form field. And that's basically a form field that allows you to type into. So if I hot reload this, how would it look like? Okay, there's this text input field that you can see, but I want it to be more appealing or customized to my liking. So I personally don't like these lines going toward the end. So I can wrap the text form field with padding. And now what padding does is just space it out from the boundaries. Like I can say edge insets dot all, like all the sides, and by give a padding of 8, or I can just increase it to 20. And so it now it doesn't go to toward the border, it has a padding on all sides. Now let's just, is it bringing the keyboard? Yeah, it does bring the keyboard. Now I wanted to, I also wanted to save whatever I type in. So there's a parameter called onChanged, and it takes the value. This value represents whatever you type into it, and inside it I can just say, just I'll call set state because it's updating the value, and I'll just say okay, set email to value, and also print email, so that we know what we are, so that we can see live how email gets updated. So if I type P over here, you can see P gets printed over here, Pranav Bhatt. So all of it, this triangle gets formed at the rate gmail.com. So that's basically how you do it. And one more thing is, you saw how this entire screen just goes up when the keyboard comes in the screen. This actually causes problems in the future because you have so many widgets on your screen that once the keyboard comes, those widgets will just go out of the screen and you won't be able to reach them, and it just overflows. So I'll actually show you all how that happens. So I'll just copy this container and create a sized box in between. I'll give it a height of, let's say, 20, and paste this container again. And if I hot reload this, so there you go, we have this. And in the second field, what I wanted to do is update the password and print this password. So word, all right, awesome. So now that I type something in this field, something, yeah, so you can see password gets updated. So that's how text form fields work in Flutter, but you can customize them even more. Let's say, suppose you want to you don't want to show passwords like this, obviously, because that would be not safe. So we can just say obscure text to true. And what this does is help me Flutter understand that okay, you don't want to show, and these little dots appear. And if you go deeper into the code, you can even change the symbols that appear. Like I can show a square, a black square instead of these black circles. So for that I have to go more deeper into these files, but I've seen you can change that, and we'll cover that later on maybe. And what one more thing I want to do is just introduce a text editing controller. And what text editing controller basically does is just keeps track of whatever is being input into these fields. So we'll declare those values as well. Text editing controller, email controller. So there will be individual controllers for both of these form fields. So one is for the email, text editing controller, and I can just copy and paste it, and password controller. All right, so that's how it looks as of now. And let's just add three containers to just sign in according to the user's choice. So I'll just say container and go to the decoration body again, box decoration, border radius dot circular 32. I really go with 32 all the time. Colors dot what's okay. I've gone with something like purplish. So purple, how about that? And I want it to have a height of whatever the height is of the screen into 0.1 and the width to be 80% of the screen. So that's how it looks like. And let's just save it and see how it looks like. Okay. So there it is. There is no space between these two containers. So let's just give it a sized box of height to, I don't know, 30. How does that look? No, I want to increase this even more. How about 80? So again, we come back to the statement that we saw earlier. It's just like painting on a canvas. I can just increase it to 100 and boom, live results right here. So I'll just copy this container. I'll just copy this. Okay, I'll just copy the container. Sorry. And I'll paste it twice so that we have three lovely containers here and a sized box between them of height, let's say 20, and even here, sized box, height 20. How does that look? Okay, it looks good, but we need to increase the space from the top. So basically, I can just go to the top of the widget tree, and over here, I can just introduce on the top a sized box so that it pushes all the widgets down. So I'll just give it a height of, let's say, 60. How does that look? Yeah, it came a little down. How about now? How about 150? Yeah, so that looks good. But now see the keyboard came up and you see these yellow and black bars that just indicate that something is overflowing. It's going off the screen. And to avoid this, what you can do is there is another property called resize to avoid bottom inset, which is you can set it to false so that whenever the keyboard comes out, they won't resize, they won't shift, they will just stay sturdy wherever they are situated on the page. So I didn't pass these controllers, I forgot. I'll just go to these text form fields and provide controller as, so this is the password text field, so the password controller, and I'll copy this line, go up to the first text form field and pass it right here as well. So the email controller. All right. So that was a live. Okay, I really want. I missed this email hint text that gives you a hint that hey, you have to put your email here or your password here. So it lets you customize that as well, which is called um, input. Wait, it's input. No, decoration. Yeah, and input decoration. And you can just go inside this and hint text. So I want this to be email over here, and I'll just copy this and I'll go down to the other text form field, and I'll just um change this to password, and I'll hot reload this. So there you go. We have built, um, almost built the page that I said, except for the text here, which says sign anonymously, sign in, or register. So let's just give these containers a child and a text child, and I want that text child to be aligned at the center. And let's just give it a text. Let's say register, and let's do a similar thing. Let's just copy this whole line and go up and give this container a child and this container a child. So what does that do? So as you can see, the text is not that appealing. It's black, and which does not suit this purple background. It does not come out to the eyes. So I can just go and style text style, and I can just say colors dot white, and I want the font size to increase as well. So how about 25? How does that look? So yeah, this looks good enough. So I'll just say anonymously. So yeah, that's how it looks like. And I'll just copy this style, and I'll go down and give it to, um, I'm sorry, yeah, this text, and I'll change this to, I'll let this be register, and I'll just change this little text widget to sign in. And I'll just say, I'll hot reload this now, and there you go. So we have, what you just saw was a live building of a layout of a page. It's not that appealing, because I personally don't like this purple color. I don't even know why I chose this, now that I think about it. But that's how you can go around building the layouts. Like, start from the top and keep on introducing containers. Use sized boxes because they are really useful. They are not visible, but there are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 size boxes at least, over here. So size boxes are really something important. Now let's move on to the presentation. And we have implement. Okay, so I'll just change the background color as well to a lighter shade. And as I said, you can do that by doing 200 over here. And there you go. So 200 is the lightest shade and 800 is the darkest shade. So that's how you can implement this. And let's just go to the presentation and let's see what we have next that we have to do. So introducing Firebase, and this big guy is just an amazing service that has been provided, that has been built by Google. And what it basically lets you do is just authenticate users, let them sign in, help them sign in, sign out, or register, or store their data, whatever. Like, if you have a task manager app, it can store the information about whatever the tasks they are doing, or you can set anything according to the user's wishes. So it has a database for that as well. So let's just check out Firebase. So this is the official website of Firebase. We'll go there, and these are the packages basically that we need. This Firebase core is a package that implements the main functionalities of Firebase, and this Firebase auth helps you authenticate users. And Cloud Firestore is basically used in storing something in the in a data in the database. So let's just go to this website. I'll just paste the link. Yeah, firebase.google.com. Yeah. So in order to get started on Firebase, can everybody just give me a thumbs up if, just in order to let me know that I'm still online and y'all are enjoying the session? Awesome, awesome, awesome. So in order to get started on Firebase, you have to sign in first and go to console that I just clicked on. I have these steps right here. Yeah, you sign in, then you go to console, then you add a project. So you can just, so this is how your console would look like. And I can just go and click on this add project. And whatever this project is, it just helps Firebase recognize your app, and it helps Firebase provide any services that Firebase provides to your app. So I'll just enter the name demo, Flutter demo. How about that? Flutter demo. And it has created this ID. And let's press on continue. Then there is this feature called Google Analytics, which it, you can see all this list. It helps you predict user behavior. It helps you in some kind of testing. And we are not interested in that right now. But let's go ahead without Google Analytics. And as you can see, it is creating a project for us. And soon it will be done. And we'll go back to coding. And I want to talk about landing pages as a whole. So what landing pages are, in when you are using these authentication services that helps your users sign in and sign out, landing pages are crucial. Every app that has authentication services has a landing page. And what landing page is, just, like how it sounds, the first thing your app does is go on that landing page, and it has certain conditions that if it detects a user that is signed in, it will take the user to the home page. Or if there is no user detected at all, it will take the user to the sign in page. And that's what I have implemented right here, landing page. I have already coded this before, so that in order to save time. And before this, I want to talk about authentication, how to implement authentication by Firebase. So let's just go back and create this Android app on Firebase. And this is basically, we are just letting Firebase know that about whatever our app is, whatever our app ID is, and everything about our app, we are letting Firebase know. So we have to supply this Android package name. And you can see your package name is generally the application ID in your app level build.gradle file. So if you go back to your IDE, and as you can see, there's an Android and app module here, and there is a build Gradle in this app folder. So if you go on build.gradle, and you look around, you will find the application ID that they are asking for. This application ID, which is com.example.flutter underscore project. So we just copy this and go back and supply this over here, and then you can give it a nickname. Then you can give it, this is optional. This is more all these SHA-1. This is a code for you have to supply this only when you are implementing authentication via number, like phone numbers, local phone numbers in different countries, or you are implementing Google sign in, like sign in through Google. That is these days. Every other website or an app has this sign in with Google or sign in with Facebook, which Facebook just changed their name to Meta in the past few hours. So there's that. Now the next step is download Google dash services.json. It's a JSON file, and we have to download this and store it in your Android app module root directory. So I'll just download this, and it will get downloaded soon. Yeah, it's doing that. And what it basically does is get all the services in this file. And we have to save it in our C folder. We'll go to users, to studio projects, and Flutter project. That's my current project. And where is it asking us to store it? Android app module. So we can just go Android and in the app, and we can click on save. So now the file will get downloaded, and it will get saved at that location, and we can just proceed next. And the next part is that you have to copy all of these lines. You can see at this line, just copy this. It basically imports all the Google services. And you have to go to project level build.gradle. So there are two build.gradle files in any Android Studio project. There is one in build.gradle. As you can see, our google.service dash service services.json file just got saved over here, which we just downloaded. And so there's this build.gradle in the app directory, and there is another build.gradle in the Android directory. So if we go back, we have to save this in the project level build.gradle. So as you can see, I have already done that. But you just have to go, and you can see in the dependencies after the brackets, you have to paste this, which I have already done. So I won't do that again. And the next thing you have to do is copy this line and go into your app module, build.gradle. So go into your app and go to this build.gradle, which is in your app mod folder. And beneath this com.android.application, copy this and paste it over here. So I'll just go up, and I've already done that. So no need. You don't have to copy this line and paste that as well. It's not necessary for our project, so we won't do that. And boom, we have just connected our app with Firebase. That's what we just did. And so getting back, I mean, we are just a few minutes away from just implementing the authentication services as well. So you can go to authentication, get started, and wait for this to yeah. So it gives you a bunch of options, as you can see, from Google, Facebook, Play Games, Twitter, Microsoft. And what we want to choose is email and password and enable. So for your app, now email and password authentication has just been enabled, and we can add new provider here. And I also want anonymous sign in. So I can save that, and boom, we have email and password and anonymous signing in authentication services associated with our app now. So I want to go back. I want to go to this file called authentication, which I have coded, and it needs to be hard coded. And I just want to go line by line what it contains. So it's an authentication class. We'll use this file to authenticate our users. So Firebase auth.instance is being called, like it has all the services provided by Firebase authentication, and the instance gets stored in Firebase auth. And moving on, now we have this amazing concept called stream. And I have another slide regarding stream. And streams are basically like just what they sound like. They are streams of data, and this auth state changes is of type stream, and it listens to firebase.auth state changes. Basically what this line does is just tell ki, hey, I'm declaring this stream that's called auth state changes. And what auth state changes does is listen to changes in users in our app. So if a user signs out, so it listens to that change. If a user logs in, it listens to that change. Any kind of change in our user, it listens to that. So that is a stream. So I want to show you all a video for stream. So yeah, this is the video regarding streams. And let's just play this. Oh, it cannot play for some reason. It was playing a few hours ago. That's unusual. So I'll go outside, and I want to show it. I really want to show it. Or maybe I can just go to YouTube. So there's this restaurant in Japan where all the food, there is this literal stream of water, and they send noodles on that stream. And there are customers like 10 feet away just waiting for those noodles to flow down, and once they get those noodles they just pick them up and eat them. So that's what streams is basically. Like, once a new data form of data comes, you get notified like, oh, noodles are coming my way. And as soon as they reach you, you just decide to just uh, take them and have a bite. So that's what basically streams are. And at the end, I think I'll show you all the video. It's a really amazing uh, display of what streams are actually are. So this next method is, it just gets the current user. It gets all the data about the current user. Whatever data there is about the current user, it gets stored in this variable. Now, these next two, three, four methods, they are the actual authentication functions of our app. First is a future. Like, a future is basically, it waits for something to happen in the future. Like, the value will be received in the future. Like how I gave the NASA example, you send a request to NASA to get the image. So it is get it, you will get that image in the future. So you have to specify key, okay, it's an asynchronous method, and you have to await for data. So this is of type user. And sign in with email and password, it accepts string email and password. And it calls Firebase auth.sign in with credential, email auth provider dot credential. It passes email, password, and whatever the data is of that user, it gets stored in this user credential, and it returns user credential dot user. That's how simple it is. Just 3 lines of code. Can you imagine? So all these 3 lines of code help you to sign in any user with their credential. And the same is happening for create a new user. So this is again future user, create user with email and password. It takes email and password, and it calls Firebase create user with email and password. It takes email and password, whatever they want, whatever the user wants their password and email to be set to. And it stores some user credential that Firebase randomly generates, like user ID and all user token, everything. It gets stored here, and it returns user credential dot user, whatever whoever the user is. So, and then there is this sign in anonymously, which just calls, hey, Firebase auth dot sign in anonymously. That's it. That's all you need to sign in anonymously in your app. I think what Google is doing with Firebase and Flutter entirely is just reducing code by lines of code entirely. You within 2 lines of code, you can just implement the functionality of letting a user sign in anonymously. How cool is that? And of course, to sign out at the end, we have await Firebase dot auth dot sign out. That's it. And so that is basically all there is about this authentication file. Just 30 lines of code that you need to sign in and sign out your user. And so I'll close this, and I'll go back to the landing page. Where is it? Yeah, landing page. And there is, as you can see, I'm calling auth, that we just saw, the file that that has all this functionality in it. And its instance gets stored in auth, and it has a stream builder inside it. It's basically a stream that whenever it gets a new data, it checks what to do with that data. So I have provided the stream to the stream builder with this auth state changes. This itself is a stream that listens to changes in the user of in our apps. And this builder method is here, which gets called every time there is a change in the stream, whenever there is a new input in data. And then we have this conditions if snapshot. Snapshot is basically what it is like. Snapshot is the data that we receive, and dot connection state, if it is active, then store all the data of whatever the snapshot has into this user. Then it moves on. If user is equal to null, then return sign in page because there is no user. But if user is not equal to null, then take them to home page, which I haven't imported, I guess. Yeah, I haven't built the home page yet. So that's what basically landing page is. I'll just create a state less widget for homepage and just let it exist for now. We'll come back to this later. And homepage will only be displayed once the user is signed in. So yes, so we'll go back to our sign in page. And what we want is to call the authentication class that we just looked at, this class that has all the functionalities to sign in with email and password and so on. So we'll just store that over here. Final auth is equal to auth. And now what we want to do is wrap. Let's go back to these buttons. We have this anonymously button over here, which we have, and we'll just wrap this container with a gesture detector. And what I want this to do is on tap, async, because it has to wait for the user credentials to return, and await Firebase. Oh, I'm sorry, auth dot current user. I'm sorry, no. Auth dot sign in anonymously and return. No, it shouldn't return anything as of now. So what it does is whenever it is called, just sign in anonymously. So the sign in anonymously gets called and user credentials are received. And yeah, that's how simple it is. And then we'll move on to the other one that says register. And I'll wrap this container again, gesture detector, and I'll say on tap, await. I'll make this asynchronous as well. Await auth dot create user with email and password. And the password and email that we type in these text form fields gets sent over here to this method. And similarly, we can just wrap this sign in container with a gesture detector as well. And let's give it a child and on tap functionality. On tap, make it asynchronous, and auth dot sign in with email and password. So let's make it await for that. And that's basically all there is for now. But okay, so there's another thing. Yeah, so we see this error right here. So what it basically is that no Firebase app has been created called firebase.initialize app. Now, every time that you associate your app with Firebase, you have to call firebase.initialize app before it gets started to activate all the services uh, of Firebase before it starts. So I'll just convert this main function into future void, and I'll make this an asynchronous, and I'll say await for Firebase dot initialize app, and only then run app. So I'll restart this. I'll restart this and let's see what happens. Okay, I'm getting some errors here. Let's just check them out. Do we not have? Am I online? Am I still going on? Can you all just send?
Yes, yes, you are.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll go back over here. Yeah, I think I'll restart again. I don't know what's the problem is. Um, I have called Firebase initialize dot. Let's just okay. I think I should do this. widgets flutter.binding.ensure initialized for that. Yeah. So what? Yeah, I you should always remember this. It basically just creates a framework of what is about to happen in the app. Like it builds a framework for every widget that's going to be created. So that's actually really important. And after that, it calls firebase.initialize app. And let's just try it out. Let's just say sign in anonymously. Okay. It's showing another error. How about because it was null? Let's just go into the sign in page and where is yeah, there it is. Okay, so let's just store all the data is equal to this and return data. Yeah, so we'll do that for everything wherever we have called return data. Yeah, over here as well. Let's see. I think we're gonna get another error because yeah, API key is not valid. Mhm. I don't know why it's doing that. Let's just go and dive deeper into this. So sign in anonymously. Where is it? Where is it? Yeah. And it does this. Okay, okay, okay. I think it's taking time for the app to get initialized because we just created a project right now. So it takes time for it to get, in place. But yeah, if I think after a few moments, if we try again, then it would certainly work. Yeah. So basically, in theory, what happens is when I press on this and whenever I type my email or password into this, I get taken to another page, like however it happens in actual applications. And the stream detects whatever user data has been received and it checks, okay, if this user data is valid, if it's a genuine user, and if everything is correct, it will take you to the home page. And that's it. Actually, that's Firebase has made it really easy for us to implement stuff like this. I think a few years ago it would have taken like a few hundred lines of code or something. So yeah, it's actually really amazing. So yeah, Flutter and Firebase are these two products by Google that really make it appealing for new beginners to use it and make it really easy for concepts to be grasped by for new beginners. So yeah, let's move on with our presentation. And at the end, I think I have these two resources. One of them is the official YouTube channel of Flutter, which they have this widget of the week channel, which posts every week new Flutter widget, and they talk about this widget like in a 1 minute video. So that's really amazing that they've maintained it since like 2 years, 3 years. And so what I did was just took 2 hours separately and I just binge watched the whole playlist of like 110 videos of various widgets. So that's how you can increase your knowledge about various widgets in Flutter as well, because there are a lot. And there's this amazing course for Flutter beginners, which is, I mean, we actually covered a lot for in terms of a Flutter beginner in today's sessions. But still, if you want to just get going through an online course and build a discipline to just practice Flutter every day, then this is a great course that even I learned from everything from here. And yeah, these are the two important resources along with pub.dev, the packages website, that you'll get an ocean of information and you'll just be amazed the variety of stuff you can get on the web. So that's it. And thank you so much for being a part of this event. And I'm sure there will be more of these coming on in the future as well. And thank you so much for having me.